So is that really the title of the video? I thought we didn't do clickbait titles. What gives?
Well, yeah, I know. I agree, but we gotta get this in front of as many people as we possibly can. Sometimes we gotta play by the algorithm's rules. I don't like it either. Besides, he's such a horrible little creep. It's probably true. I mean, a lot of people are saying it. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, all right, you got a point. But if Joe Rogan calls again, the answer is still no.
Hello everyone, it's me. So let's talk about the tariff situation. As you probably know, there's been a fluctuating tariff situation for all imports coming into the US. Up until this point, there was a de minimis provision on it that said anything under $800 was not subject to tariffs. So it didn't affect me at all. That has now been suspended. The tariffs apply to all items entering the US regardless of their cost. And that means that on top of my regular shipping costs, there's also a 35% tariff. So let's do some math. Let's take a typical build of mine that you might buy on the store, a Greebly, standard Greebly. That sells for 375 Canadian dollars. Now, if the tariff is 35%, that means on a $375 Greebly, the tariff comes to over $130. Now that, of course, is a huge chunk of money. That is a giant percentage of the total cost of the puppet, and that's on top of the regular shipping cost. This has nothing to do with shipping. This is the value of the item coming into the States. Now, a lot of small businesses and artists have taken different approaches to how they're going to handle this kind of thing. A lot of them, myself included for a while, just stopped shipping to the US entirely. We had no choice. I mean, we can't afford to pay that, and there wasn't the infrastructure in place to be able to even handle it. It's only in the past couple days that Canada Post, for example, have got up and running with a process by which we can pay for the tariffs, because the tariffs have to be paid before the item crosses the border. So you can't even pass this on to the client because it has to be paid up front. Now, although I've been lucky enough to ship puppets all over the world, and I'm very, very grateful for that, the simple truth is the vast majority of my clients are US based, and so this affects me in a huge way. So I have come to the conclusion that not shipping to the US is just not an option for me. And that leaves me with only one real choice. But don't worry, it's not bad news for you, it's bad news for me. I have always tried to keep my builds at a price point that people can actually afford. And if I were to raise my prices by 35% to cover the tariffs, well, that would put most of my builds outside of the range of people's availability, and I really don't want to do that. So my only real option is to just eat that cost. I will cover it myself out of my own pocket. It will come out of my cut of the money that is paid for the puppet. So that effectively means that, yes, I am shipping to the States again after a few days of not. That's back. US clients, let her rip. It's just that I will be getting much less money from the sale of every puppet. It's a terrible solution, but it is the only solution, because without this, well, puppet building is what I've been doing for 6 years professionally. It's my only income. I'm about to turn 57. This is it. This is all I got. No one's going to hire me for anything else, but this is something that I can do. And it is something that I think now more than ever, people need some fun and joy and positivity. And that's something that this can do. And I am still in the business of doing that. So for the moment, I'm covering it. Now, there is some good news. There are legal challenges to the tariffs going through the court system right now. At the moment, they will not be coming up for review until October. So for all of September, there's at least going to be the tariffs. That may change come October because, it turns out the chances are they're probably not legal. I know, it's shocking. Trump doing something illegal? you're kidding. And I had another idea for how I can address some of this, at least in the short term. And it's basically prototyping new models. One of the biggest expenses when it comes to puppet building, and I think all puppet builders can back me up on this, is labor time. It just takes time. And you as a builder need to be compensated appropriately for the time you spend using your craft to make this thing. I mean, that just makes sense. So if you can cut down the labor time, then you can cut down the cost of the puppet. And since it's a 35, it's a percentile-based tariff, the lower the cost of the item, the easier it is to swallow the cost of the tariff. So I'm going to start prototyping some puppets that are kind of halfway between a Sonk puppet, which is my lowest tier puppet and is quite quick to make and is a very good entry point, and something like a Greebly, which is, a standard rod arm puppet. Something between those that can be put in a smaller box, for example, so less shipping costs, but also will come in at a lower price point than a Greebly, but a higher price point than a Sonk. That, I think, is probably a good kind of path through this, because it means I'll be able to make them relatively quickly, although not as quickly as, say, a Greebly, but still a reasonable number of labor hours will go into them. I won't have to charge as much for them. Therefore, it will be easier for everybody to afford. People will be able to pay for the puppet because, well, let's face it, not a lot of people have a whole lot of disposable income these days, and puppets are a bit of a luxury. And if it comes to a choice between groceries and puppets, please pick groceries. And the other thing that I think I can do to kind of just help this along is lately, in the past year or so, I've been pretty much avoiding corporate social media in general, just because I find it so distasteful, particularly in these days of so much slop out there. But I can't really afford that luxury. I have to get out there, and I think I can still do interesting, fun, good work. So you're going to be seeing a whole lot more of me and the puppet crew in the coming days and weeks. So get used to that. We're going to be putting out more videos. There's going to be more live streams. There's going to be possibly the TikTok channel coming back. And we will see. I'm still working out exactly what I'm going to do, but there's just going to be more Operation Puppet. And I think that at least will help get us in front of people who may not be aware of us. We're going to start trying to network with more of the puppet community a bit more, and just trying to get out there a bit more. I think I've been an underground hit for too long. Now, there is something that you can do as a client of mine or a potential client of mine. If you are inclined to purchase a build from me, if you can do it on the direct shop at operationpuppet.com and not on the Etsy shop, Etsy takes a huge and increasing chunk of that price in fees and services, and frankly, stuff that is not appropriate. Ads that I don't want, that I'm forced to pay for. There's a whole other conversation to be had about Etsy, but Etsy bad is what it comes down to. And this not only goes for me, this goes for all artists. If an artist has an Etsy shop, contact them first before you buy the thing on Etsy and see if they have a way that you can pay them directly. Because if you can do that, they will end up with more of that money in their pocket and not going to some giant venture capitalist firm like Etsy, for example. So if you are inclined to buy a puppet, try to buy it on the Operation Puppet direct shop. I still have to pay a fee, obviously, in vendor fees for that, but it runs on WooCommerce. It is a totally secure and safe situation to do financial transactions in. And I get more of that money in my actual pocket, which now, because I'm having to cover the costs of the tariffs, is more important than ever, that I try and maximize the amount of actual income that comes from making the puppet should go to me and not to, fees and services and tariffs and stuff like that. So that is something that you as a client can do to help me out. The other thing, of course, that you can always do to help me out is just share my stuff around. I've been doing this for 6 years. I'm not going away. So as I said, there's going to be more stuff, and the more people that see it, the better. And I try to do uplifting, positive, focused things that people will enjoy and hopefully find funny, and is also more or less family friendly. So please do share this stuff around. I usually don't like to, ask for likes and shares on socials, but I don't have a choice. I need your help. So you can do that for me. All right, well, that was kind of embarrassing. So anyway, I hope you have a great day. By all means, if you need a puppet commission, you can get in contact with me, admin at operationpuppet.com, operationpuppet.com for all of the links. Everything's ongoing. The live streams are ongoing. The podcast is back. There's all kinds of stuff that we're doing. There's going to be new Oracle episodes. Don't worry. Lots more good stuff to come because, hey, we all need some positivity and fun right now more than ever. So I hope to see you soon.